After defeating the Northern Arizona Wranglers at home 56-49 in Week 14 and extending that winning streak to 4 games, the Arizona Rattlers went right back on the road heading to Las Vegas to take on the second best team in the West, the Vegas Nighthawks. One final bit of disclosure and then I'll be right back to watching all the games. So, I did watch and cover the first half of this game. At halftime, I left to go get some food, completely lost track of time, I missed the second half. So, disclosure, I apologize, but I do want to say this, the Arizona Rattlers defense was making some really good plays in the first half. I thought the Rattlers defense played really well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Vegas gets the ball first, and about 3 minutes in, CJ Winham a 27-yard touchdown, giving Vegas the lead. However, about 3 minutes later, Shannon Brooks answers back with a 14-yard touchdown, tying the game at 7. Vegas gets the ball back. They only needed one play. It was a 25-yard pass to CJ Winham, who had 2 touchdowns in the first 2 possessions. However, the kick was blocked, 13-7 Vegas. The kick wasn't just blocked. Trey Farrell actually blocked the kick and returned it into the end zone. However, it was not a touchdown. They were only awarded 2 points, making it 13-9. Didn't really matter because 3 plays and 26 yards later, Shannon Brooks punches it home for a 1-yard touchdown, giving the Rattlers their first lead of the night, 15-13. And that is what the score would remain at the end of the first quarter. With 5 minutes to go in the first half, the Rattlers have the ball again, and Shannon Brooks a 4-yard touchdown, extending the Rattlers lead to 22-13. At the 1-minute warning in the first half, the Arizona Rattlers had the lead, 22-13. Quentin Randolph, an 11-yard touchdown with 57 seconds to go, making it 22-20, before Dalton Sneed finds his way out of the pocket, and instead of simply running the ball because there was space he could have ran here, he decides to try to force a pass, which was tipped and picked off. Obviously, Vegas gets the ball back, and with time expiring, a 1-yard touchdown to Jerome Johnson, and the Rattlers, who were leading 22-13 with 1 minute to go in the half, found themselves trailing 27-22 against a much better Vegas Nighthawks team. I mean, at the time, Vegas had the same amount of wins as Arizona, both having 8. However, Vegas played 2 fewer games and thus had 2 fewer losses, and they've just been a better team. I could do the whole song and dance, and yes, I will give you the summary. However, both teams scored 28 points in the second half, meaning the Rattlers still lost, and it came down to that pass. I know a bunch of other stuff happened, alright? I get that. However, this is a game about possessions. The Rattlers defense was playing solid in the first quarter against a really good Vegas team. Not lights out, not the greatest defensive performance ever, but they were playing solid enough against a Vegas team that has been one of the best in the conference. And simply put, if Dalton Sneed did not force that pass that he did not need to force, and even if the Rattlers settled for 3 and then didn't give up any points, that is 7 points off the board for Vegas, 3 more for Arizona, and this is a 53-48 final in favor of the Rattlers. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to one play. That's also why every time I notice it, I mention it in these videos, because that questionable decision making, those times when Dalton Sneed just forces passes he doesn't need to force, and the amount of times that his passes get deflected, that's going to cost you, and this was a massive opportunity to beat one of the best teams in the league. Yes, they're on a 4-game winning streak. However, they needed that 4-game winning streak to be right back in the playoff picture. And after they lost this game against Vegas, they are technically 4th in the West. They're still in a position to make the playoffs. However, it frustrates me because it was a good effort. It was a good effort against a really good team. It could have gone either way, and the Rattlers really could have won that one. And that's why I'm frustrated. Anyway, scoring summary, Shannon Brooks, 1-yard touchdown. CJ Winham, 35-yard touchdown. Shannon Brooks, another touchdown, one being for 8 yards. Jerome Johnson, 9-yard touchdown. Nair Jackson, a 12-yard touchdown. Jerome Johnson, back-to-back touchdowns. 1 for 4 yards, 1 for 45 yards. And then Corey Reed Jr., with 34 seconds to go, has a 41-yard touchdown of his own. Great individual performances. I'm not saying this entire thing is all Dalton Sneed's fault. I'm frustrated that one play that should not have happened, when you just look at the math, kind of ended up costing them the game. Anyway, Dalton Sneed, 19 for 31, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Shannon Brooks, 10 attempts, 43 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. Great night for him as usual. Corey Reed Jr., 6 receptions, 116 yards. What is that? 3 of his last 4 games, he had 90 plus yards and a touchdown. Nair Jackson, 6 receptions, 67 yards and a touchdown. 10 plus yards per reception. Shannon Brooks, 5 receptions, 40 yards and a touchdown, and Jamal Miles still contributing, 2 receptions, 35 yards. Defensive end of the ball. There are 2 tackles for loss, one going to Trey Farrell and half going to each Kevin Sims Jr. and Roddick Perry. And you had a couple of interceptions going to Trey Farrell and Jermaine Dobbs. So defense had a couple key plays. The defense, I think they played well. I'm just going to say, I think they played well enough. You're going against one of the best offenses in the league. You're going against one of the best teams in the league. I think this is a good effort. Maybe this is just a frustrating loss because genuinely this game could have gone either way. And at the end of the day, if you're going to lose, at least lose close. And obviously it does sound a little greedy to say they needed to win this because they didn't need to win this. It's frustrating that they were in the position to and lost it. That's it. But you know what? Overall, good effort. Couple things need to be cleaned up. Dalton Snead in his last 4 games has, 6 interceptions? That needs to get fixed. He had one phenomenal game against Northern Arizona. He's had mostly serviceable games, and he had that one terrible game against San Diego. He's mostly been good. Some things need to get cleaned up. And it needs to come down to decision-making. I genuinely believe it is mostly decision-making because even when I watch him live, there are times when you can tell he is just forcing the ball to someone, whether they are open or not, and those passes end up getting picked off more than they should. And it's just a little frustrating. Anyway, like I said, the Rattlers lose 55-50 in a close game against the second best team in the West. They have a game coming up this weekend hosting the Iowa Barnstormers, so this would be a perfect time to get right back in the win column.